Hello and welcome to the Nexus 7 XBMC impressions video. In this video I will take a look at how the latest version of XBMC 12 or Frodo performs on Google's low-cost reference tablet, the Galaxy Nexus 7. If you haven't heard of the Nexus 7, it's Google's reference tablet. It costs $199, has a quad-core processor, 1 GB of RAM, 16 gigs or more of storage depending on which model you buy, has BGN wireless, has a gig of RAM, and up to an 8-hour battery life. The really nice thing about the Galaxy line of devices is also that they get updated much quicker by Google than any other Android device that you can possibly get. So this device already runs the latest version of Android, which is 4.2.2. The nice thing also about this tablet is it's relatively cheap. It's only $199. And also with Android compatibility having been moved into the main release of XBMC 12, you can now easily install XBMC on some of these Android devices. It's unfortunately not supported on every Android device, specifically older ones don't really work. So what you're going to want to do is you want to go to the XBMC wiki and check to see if your devices support it. They have a pretty comprehensive list there. So the first thing I'm going to cover is movie playback again, like I do with all my other devices. So the very first thing you'll see me do here is open XBMC, which I had already installed at this point in time from the APK that I downloaded from the official XBMC website. It was pretty simple. So then after that I set up my sources, went ahead and scraped everything into the library. As you can see here, it's already there. And you can see me moving around there for a little bit, and it works actually really well. I was really surprised how well the little tablet handles the fan art. For being such a small device and only having a gig of RAM, it works really well. And as always, I'm going to go ahead and open up Easy A here in just a second, and you can see how that runs. Normally at this point in time in most videos you'll see me actually hit the skip button to skip 30 seconds ahead. I couldn't quite figure out how to do that on the with a touchscreen device, so you'll just see me fast forward here, and then I'll pick it back up in just a second. So after Easy A, I'm going to go ahead and open up Eden of the East again, which is that 1080p movie that I use in all the other reviews that I've had. And even though it's over the wireless, it opened it up pretty quickly, but however, you'll notice that on the little tablet there is a slight lag or jerkiness when you play back a 1080p file. You'll be able to kind of tell here how the video is kind of, it looks kind of a little bit slideshowish, and it kind of kept that going throughout the whole thing. And I believe it's just the processor or the video decoding just isn't quite up to snuff. I don't think it's because of the wireless, because usually if it's a problem with the wireless, what you'll notice is that the device starts buffering. It never buffers here, it just continuously plays, so I think it's actually something with the video playback and the decoding, and that's why it's a little bit slow. You'll notice here too, when she turns, it looks kind of slideshowish. The next thing I did is take a look at how the YouTube plugin works on the Nexus 7. So I already had downloaded the plugin the same way you always do. You go to Video Add-ins and downloaded the plugin. And then you just go to Add-ins, go to YouTube as you always do. And I searched for the same video that I did in my last couple of reviews, which is Broken Hearted by Carmen. And I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here. And it actually worked pretty well. It took it a little while to load, at least the initial search results, but after that it was actually pretty fast. So it only took it a few seconds to load the video, but as you'll know here also, again, kind of like with Eden of the East, it's kind of struggling to play back the video. Now the funny thing is, because this is Android, there's actually a YouTube plugin available for Android that works a lot better. That can even do 1080p video. I think I had to set down to 720p video at the max because of 1080 it was lagging even worse. So you don't really need to use the YouTube add-in for it to be able to work. So lastly, again, I'm going to go ahead and change the default skin from Confluence to Aeon Nox here, and surprisingly, it actually worked really well. I was really surprised how well this ran. It ran much better than on the Raspberry Pi. It ran much better than it did on the Pivos box when I first reviewed it, which again, by now it's probably been fixed quite a bit. But I was really surprised. It ran really well. It didn't take forever to load. It moved around pretty quickly. I was able to change one of the view types. It's a little bit tricky to change the view type because of the little pull-out menu that you have to use on the left there. You'll see me using it there in just a minute. I had a little bit of a problem getting the menu to look right. But other than that, it worked just fine. I was really surprised. So the one thing I did notice as I was using this, it's a little bit tricky to use the touchscreen. I'm not sure if it was Nexus' fault. I would assume that part of it has to do with that, because I wasn't having that much of a problem with Confluence, but some of the skins definitely are not really user-friendly for touch. You'll notice me poking around here on the screen quite a bit for me to be able to get it to work. But, you know, as always, it's a work in progress, so it can only get better. So I was very pleasantly surprised with how well XBMC worked on the Nexus 7. I have to admit, I didn't have very high hopes after looking at the Pivos box and that running Android at the time, but this thing really blew me away. The nice thing about it is it's $199. It runs really well already, so there really isn't anything wrong with it if you already own one. The one problem that I do have with it is that the Nexus 7 doesn't have an HDMI port. So as cool as this is that you are able to use it and that it runs really well, you can't plug it into a big screen TV and use it for that. I'm sure that the 1080p playback will be fixed. The YouTube plugin isn't really that big of a deal because you can use the Android built-in YouTube plugin. But really, the lack of an HDMI port really kind of ruins it for me. I didn't try using any of the XBMC remotes with it. I'm sure that that would work just as well. I also didn't try to set like an advanced settings file to already scrape my library. That might be another little bit of a problem. But really, the lack of the HDMI port for me right now is the biggest problem. Now, in general, talking about XBMC on Android, there is one other issue, and right now they're basically saying, if you go read the wiki article, that any device may or may not work. You may have an older Galaxy Tab that doesn't work. I have a very old Galaxy Tab 1 that it doesn't work on there. You might have a Motorola Zoom that runs Honeycomb or whatever that runs now. It doesn't work on there. So buying hardware right now to expect it to use with Android is something that they highly discourage, just because they simply can't. They can't guarantee you that it's going to work ultimately. The Nexus 7 does work. I don't know anybody who has a Nexus 10, so I can't try it on the Nexus 10, but I would assume it will work on the Nexus 10 as well. So really, the lack of the HDMI port and kind of the lack of general hardware compatibility are probably the two biggest downsides to XBMC on Android right now. But other than that, if you have a Nexus 7, give it a whirl. It works really well. It's easy to use, and I really liked it. So anyways, if you have any comments or concerns, questions, go ahead and post them down in the comments. I'm always eager to hear what people have to say, or stop by my blog. It's xbmcstuff.tumblr.com. Thank you so much. Till next time.